John Lennon was a hypocrite, says the person who knew him best.
Dad could talk about peace and love out loud to the world, but he could never show it to the people who supposedly meant the most to him, his wife and son.
These words come from Julian Lennon. He was 5 when his father abandoned him. Julian had to buy back his own father's belongings. He paid $30,000 for John's Afghan coat from Magical Mystery Tour. The Hey Jude lyrics cost him $25,000. Paul McCartney wrote that song to comfort Julian during his parents' divorce. Growing up, Lennon wasn't easy. Julian recalls being ambushed by gangs after school. Everyone thought he was rich. In reality, his mother, Cynthia Powell, barely had enough for food and clothes. Julian always had to fly across the Atlantic to see his father. Their meetings were rare and uncomfortable.
I probably knew him as much as I know you.
Julian told a journalist.
That's about how warm it was. There were cuddles now and then, but there was always an uneasy tension.
The contrast with his half-brother's upbringing is striking. While Julian struggled, John became a house husband for Sean. He baked bread, walked through Central Park, and attended every meal.
He's my biggest pride.
John said about his younger son, young Julian couldn't understand the rejection.
Dad's always telling people to love each other.
He once asked his mother,
But how come he doesn't love me?
His mother tried to explain but privately cursed John for making his child suffer. For 3 years between 1971 and 1974, Julian heard nothing from his father. Birthday presents arrived from John's London office. They never included personal notes. 8-year-old Julian learned about his dad from newspaper clippings. The wound ran deep.
You cannot just discard people because you can't face up to them.
Julian said years later,
You cannot say, here's my new life. I'm older, I understand more, I'll make it better now. It doesn't work that way.
Every new school brought the same pain. Teachers would introduce him as John Lennon's son. Local gangs would wait outside. Sometimes he'd throw his chips in the air as a distraction and run. The estate battle lasted 16 years. Julian was supposed to get $5,760 a year and a $120,000 trust fund at 25. He finally secured a settlement in 1996. The terms remain confidential. Time has softened some edges. Julian says he loves his half-brother Sean to death, but their relationship remains distant.
If I move, I always give him my new number. I call him from time to time, but I never get a return call.
Julian eventually found peace in Italy. He bought a house by the lakes where no one knows him. He said he'd found the first step to contentment at 35. It took 3 decades to process his father's legacy.